Well, actually, it's no one at the moment. This is my first YouTube live stream, and I tried to start it 1 hour ago, but spent so long fiddling with the settings to try and get the telephone horizontal landscape that I now only have about 20 minutes before I have some guests arriving. But I will do this again. So this is just a test really. And the 4G signal will probably drop out anyway, as it so frequently does here. As you may be able to see from the description, if I've done it correctly, it's an impromptu mini tour of my forest garden, the food forest. And if you have any questions, I ought to be able to come up on the screen as we walk around. So let's go. What will we see? Qu'est-ce qu'on va voir? Well, there's a pile of hay there. That's what I'm using for mulch at the moment because I can't get any wood chips. Although the hay is working rather well around the plants to retain the moisture and keep down the weeds. Hello, Humphrey the Comfrey. Ah, there's one person watching, so my telephone tells me. Hello. It was very wet and cloudy this morning, and it's still cloudy, but the bees have just come out. It's about 3 in the afternoon. This is the one colony of super strong honeybees that survived the winter. I had 4 before the winter time. 3 of them were raided by wasps, and 1 didn't like the many months of the wet weather. And a couple of days ago, that you'll see in more detail in a video coming up when I edit it, I got back from work and they had divided themselves, or were dividing themselves very neatly into 2 colonies. So this warray hive here now has half the bees in it, and they're building up their numbers beautifully. And they're collecting very well today. Just having a little look at the back of the warray hive through one of the windows to see what's going on inside. Hello, girls. Ah, there we go. I don't know how well you can see. There are certainly lots of activity there. Oh, how are the ducklings? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's time for them to come out for their afternoon forage. Although it has to be a supervised forage, because there are geese around and they would pick up a duckling and shake it. I've actually now contained the geese. Hello from Nebraska, hello. What time is it there? I didn't think anyone would be awake. Maybe I'm showing my ignorance of time zones. I invested in this solar powered energizer for the electric fence that I have, and I didn't really want to contain the geese because they're doing such a grand job mowing all the paths. But as any of you who know about geese will realise, they will mow everything else as well. Ah, 8 in the morning. Nice way to start the day. So I've now temporarily contained them while I plant out a lot of the perennial vegetables. They'll be allowed out later in the year. The 4 ducklings with their bantam mother. Hello, girls. Hello. Come on then. All right. Go on then. See, they're bigger. How old are they now? Not quite 2 weeks. Yeah, they're about twice the size. It seems that ducks grow twice the speed of chickens. Hello, Hugh. This is remaining band, so he gets quite lonely. But he hangs around the cage, waiting for them to be let out, and then he shows them to the best food sources. It won't be long before they'll be able to be out full time. But at the moment, they're still quite vulnerable. They might get picked off by crows or magpies or geese. Because then they need their greens. I can't just feed them on grain and layers pellets. What is that? It's a duck. Didn't realise that ducklings ate duck. No, I don't know their gender yet. There might be a way of telling, but I don't really want to pick them up and have a look. But I'm happy whatever they are, really. Live babies. Yeah, well, I'll leave them to it there a moment. I'll keep them within earshot in case I hear squealing and I have to come and rescue them from these monsters here. Yes, you. For those of you who missed it at the beginning, I've only got about 20 minutes because I wanted to allow an hour and a half for this, but I spent so long fiddling with the settings that I ran out of time. You're welcome to tell me what you'd like to see in the comments. I'm not sure where to go. There's almost too much to see. Well, there is too much to see for the time that I have. Ah, the tree collard. Yes, did you spy it just now? That's, well, I used to like to boast that I had 470 perennial edibles growing here, which I did have last year, but thanks to these monsters, I now have about 300. And this is one of the sacrifices, this tree kale or tree collard. That's what they've done to it, but there is some sign of life here still. But fortunately, because it grows so very, very well from cuttings, I have several others, so I haven't lost it completely. This is a cutting I took 2 years ago of the tree kale, and it's safe within the duck enclosure where the geese can't get. So look how well the cutting's doing. Oh, there's a comment I missed then. I wasn't quick enough to read it. I'll read them later. You can see the geese can't get into the duck enclosure because of this T here. So the ducks can go quite happily underneath, but the geese can't go under it or over it. And that's the same with the electric fence. The ducks can go under it quite happily, but the geese can't. So the ducks are out now foraging for slugs in the damp grass. Here you go, girls. I'm not going to eat this, so you can have it. Here you go. Oh. Fight over that leaf. Where should we go? I don't know what you'd like to see, really. Well, the geese can't duck, but not that low. Brilliant. Ducking geese. This is often on the tours that I do, of which there's one in about half an hour, it being Sunday afternoon. This is something I use as an example of companion planting because it's such a good example, and that is gooseberries. Look, they're coming on now. A bit late thanks to the cold, wet May that we've had. But gooseberries, marjoram, and tomatoes all growing together. And the idea is that the marjoram, when it's disturbed, the oils that are released keep away the pests for the tomatoes, as well as creating a nice ground cover to lock in the moisture and stop weeds coming up. Okay, I'll just say what I think, thanks. And then the tomatoes are supposed to keep away the sawfly from the gooseberries that normally strip the leaves. And the spiky stems of the gooseberries then protect the tomatoes from anything that wants to eat them, as well as creating a structure for them to climb up. When I was talking, again, I didn't read the last comment. I don't know how to go back and look at them. They appear on the screen for about 5 seconds and they fade. But when the live has finished, I may be able to go back and reply to them then. This is a Rosa rugosa. Oh, the smell is so strong. It just smells like Turkish delight in the air. But I have these Rosa rugosas. A cutting. Want to take a cutting of what? Were we talking about the tree collards still? If it's the tree collards, then I think I mentioned that in the video. They root pretty quickly. But these have a very high level of essential oils, these Rosa rugosa, plus the world's biggest rose hips. So if I use the flowers, then I pack them into a jam jar, as many as I can, and then top it up with a good quality olive oil. And then after a few months, all the olive taste disappears from the oil and you're left with a rose oil. But if I wait for the hips, then I make syrup, which I normally do wait for the hips because, well, I don't like picking the flowers. That's just one Rosa rugosa of 12. They sucker so very easily that they spread and I move them around. My last remaining watercress in there, it's spreading quite well now that it has been fenced off from the ducks, because ducks love water and I didn't realise they love watercress almost as much as I do. Where are we off to? We're just walking through the meadow areas around the perimeter of the main forest garden that's in the middle. It's got a meadow zone around the outside and a big circle. And these are actually doing very, very well. The meadow is very, very successful. Oh, there's some honeysuckle there. Honeysuckle climbing an Italian alder. Oh, speaking of sweetness. You're very welcome, Caroline. Gloucestershire is also a wonderful part of the world, and not too far from here at all. This being a summer flower meadow, all the summer flowers are starting to come through now. The bird's foot trefoil just here, that yellow one. And this is probably what takes the most maintenance in the forest garden, because I have to artificially graze these once a year. Either scythe them, which I'm normally too lazy to do, or trim them and then remove all the grass, keeping the ground poor so that the flowers can come through, and I pile up all the grass or hay on the vegetable beds. Again, this really is just a whistle-stop tour because there's too much to see. And actually, whilst this is live, I can't see what the time is. I normally use my telephone for the time, but I can't see what the time is. But I can work it out, I suppose. We've been going for 15 minutes and I started at about 3. So it must be about 3:15. Oh, it's afternoon tea time. Ah, thank you. Thank you very much. 3:15. One of the 7 or 8 sweet chestnuts. The sweet chestnuts are very, very slow growing, which is fine. They can take their time. But it's interesting at this northern end of the forest garden, where I was going to let the trees get much bigger. They're planted further apart, so it looks quite empty up this northern end, whereas down to the south, where all the diversity is and all the shorter trees, they've almost all fully grown down there. Oh, my bedroom. Another sweet chestnut. I don't know where I'm going really, just wandering. In a winter update video a few years ago, I introduced some mushroom spawn, some woodland mushroom spawn mix at the base of different trees, and there was a whole ring of different types of mushrooms came up here in the autumn time. I didn't know what most of them were, so I didn't eat them, but I stick to the wine cap mushrooms, which I'm still doing very, very well with. The mugwort, my willow arch, multi-purpose willow arch. Ah, hello duckies. You're shading yourself, are you? I would too if I was you. This morning's job was planting out all the things that I was overwintering in this little greenhouse here. I've planted out quite a few things, but what have I planted? I planted some skirret and a pawpaw tree and a white mulberry tree. What's left here to plant? Some garlic chives there, some udu. There's a passion flower vine. Oh, I've got some licorice bushes here. Got these from the rhubarb triangle up in Yorkshire, where they grew rhubarb and licorice apparently. Yeah. I don't look up very often, I just look down. I must look up at the trees. Look at the duckies filing away. They're going for their afternoon tea, I expect. This area is doing very, very well here, probably because it's one of the few areas I actually mulched, because I should have mulched all these areas with wood chip over the winter time, but this is the only one I actually had time for. And actually I didn't do it, my dad did it. But there's some earth chestnuts here, some pig nuts that are doing rather well, some peppermint. And the perennial leeks are just going berserk, they're just walking around everywhere, doing very, very well. And there's some perennial sunflowers I transplanted here. They're also doing very well. It's only their first year, but they will be covering this whole patch. Here. Oh, I didn't know you were coming, or I would have tidied up. Actually, it's always tidy-ish. I'll probably lose the signal now, actually. And if you look to your left, you'll see me cowering in the mirror. Ah! Never seen the flowers. I ought to look them up on the internet, but I'm hoping there'll be some in a couple of years. Is it related to the papaya, do you know, the pawpaw? I think it might be. Maybe it's the same thing, I don't know. Seeing as you mentioned it, I'll show you where I planted it. So they like quite moist soil and sun, but once they get going, they seem to grow anywhere. It's only a tiny specimen. I actually did buy it. I didn't plant it from seed like most things. So these are the leaves just here. That's another plant growing with it. But what is that? I'm not sure. But I thought I'd leave it growing with it because they were so happy in the pot together. But this is the pawpaw. If you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear. The almond trees are doing remarkably well. These little fuzzy almonds. Have you ever had a fresh almond? I didn't until about 3 years ago. It's like eating marzipan. They're so soft and sweet. Cardoon. I see another ducky in the shade. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot about the ducklings. I haven't heard any squeals, so I assume they're not being terrorised by the geese. Hello, duckies. Aha. Out you get. Out you get. Go on, out you go. Go on. Go on, go on, go on. Hello. There should be 4 of you. Where are the other 3? Ah, there they are. Now, come on, chicken. If you come back round here, that's right. Come on round. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on round. That's right. 4 ducklings and 1 hen. Right, I'm going to close you in for a little while, keep you safe from those vicious white monsters. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. There are mushrooms. Look at those, they weren't there last night. Look at those treasures. This is the wine cap mushroom area, except those aren't wine caps. What are they? Might need to look those up. Ah, the yakons come back. Yes. I didn't think that they'd survived the winter, but the tubers were buried deep and I put mulch on top, so they've come back splendidly. Ah, the geodesic dome, the greenhouse. Yep, if you saw the last update video, you will have seen that I shouldn't have tried to move it by myself and it collapsed. So that was, and will be again, a wonderful tropical paradise. Today just makes me cry. There are some lemons and peaches in there though at the moment. Look at these poached egg flowers. I planted them here as companion plants to the broad beans, but I haven't planted any broad beans because I haven't planted any because I ran out of time. Down here, so I won't go down any further, but you can see, well, there's a lot going on everywhere. Foxgloves, nice. Must be coming up to 3:30. Look at that. A perennial's tail. Companion planted pitchwort just here. Lovely stuff. Well, thank you for those of you who did watch this, and thank you for those of you who watched it later. It's just been a test, so if it's been successful. How old's the almond tree? There are 2 of them. They're self-fertile almonds. Can't see them from here now. They are, when did I plant them? They must be 7 or 8 years old now. So yeah, they grow pretty quickly and they're very slender, so they don't take up much space. The trouble is, if it's windy, because they blossom in January or February, so if the wind blows the blossoms off, you don't get any fruit. So very easy to grow. They're actually grafted onto a plum rootstock, otherwise their roots would rot in this country. Oh, that's, yeah, the song, Willy Wonka's song. Yeah, I would have worn my voice up if I thought I was going to sing. Look at the blackcurrant. It's going to be a very, very blackcurranty year. Very blackcurranty. I seldom do weeding here. I do mulching. But I think the asparagus bed needs weeding. Oh dear. Okay, well, I was just rounding it up. Thank you everyone for watching that has watched it live or later. As I said before, this was just a test. So I'll probably watch it back this evening if I can listen to my own voice for that long. And if it has worked, then I'll try it again sometime. I might schedule it next time so you know when it's going to happen. Okay, have a lovely Sunday everyone. And if you're further afield, beyond the sea, then have a lovely Monday or whichever day it is. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye. Oh, sorry bees. There should be a button saying end stream. I don't know how to stop it. Oh dear. Okay, bye.